Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and may the grace of the Most High God be forever in your favor. Welcome to our continued exegetical analysis on the chapters of the Quran by the Quran. In this video, we are going to be picking up where we left off in our analysis of chapter 2 of the Quran. In the last video, we covered verses 8 to 10, which address the concept of hypocrisy and its implications for the individual and the community. As previously stated, these verses shed light on the attitudes and behaviors of different groups of people concerning faith, emphasizing the importance of sincerity and genuine fidelity to Allah. In this video, however, we are going to be covering verses 11 to 16, which further address the behavior of hypocrites within the community of the faithful, emphasizing the corrupt and destructive nature of hypocrites' actions. Despite their delusions of righteousness, they are said to be the ones who cause disharmony on the earth. Their ignorance and arrogance prevent them from recognizing the harm they inflict upon themselves and others, blinding them to the truth and preventing them from recognizing their own folly. These verses further highlight the condescension of hypocrites towards those who are sincere among the faithful in their fidelity. Despite their claims of superiority, hypocrites exhibit foolishness by rejecting faithfulness and divine guidance. Exegetical analysis on verses 11 to 16 of Surat al-Baqarah. In the name of Allah, Ar-Rahman, the Merciful. For when it is said to them, "Do not create disharmony in the land," they say, "We are only improvers." Unsurprisingly, it is in fact they who are the creators of disharmony, but they just do not realize. And when it is said to them, "Act faithfully, just as the people too are acting faithfully," they say, "Should we be faithful, like the fools have been faithful?" Undoubtedly, it is in fact they who are the fools, but they just do not know. And when they meet those who are faithful, they say, "We are true to our fidelity." But as soon as they fall back with their devil-like contemporaries, they say, "We are surely with you. We were only mocking." Allah makes a mockery of them, and He prolongs them in their transgression, wandering blindly. Such people are they who have traded guidance for misguidance, but their transaction has not profited them, as they never were the guided ones. Verse 11 exposes the hypocrisy of hypocrites who claim to be reformers while engaging in corrupt and destructive behavior. Corruptive and disharmonious behavior, referred to as Facade in Arabic, is a recurring theme in the Quran, addressed in various verses across different chapters. The Quran addresses Facade as any action or behavior that disrupts the natural order, undermines justice, and leads to harm and destruction within society. It encompasses a wide range of unethical and immoral behaviors, including oppression, injustice, destruction, dishonesty, exploitation, and disobedience to divine commandments. The Quran identifies various forms of facade, both individual and societal. Individual facade includes moral decay, arrogance, greed, and disobedience to Allah's guidance. Societal facade encompasses social injustices, economic exploitation, political oppression, and environmental degradation. These forms of facade not only harm individuals but also undermine the fabric of society and erode the moral and ethical foundations of communities. When individuals prioritize their own interests over the common good and violate divine principles, they contribute to the spread of facade within society. Additionally, corrupt leaders who abuse their power and authority perpetuate injustice and oppression, leading to widespread social unrest and moral decay. The Quran warns against the severe consequences of facade, both in this life and the hereafter. This is because facade leads to social instability and economic disparity, undermining the well-being and prosperity of communities. In the hereafter, corrupt individuals will face divine punishment for their wrongdoing, as Allah will hold them accountable for their actions and intentions. In addition, the Quran provides guidance on preventing and combating facade within society, emphasizing the importance of upholding justice, promoting righteousness, and enjoining good while prohibiting vice. Through adherence to divine guidance and ethical principles, the faithful can resist the temptations of facade and strive for moral excellence. Furthermore, the Quran encourages accountability, transparency, and accountability in governance to prevent the abuse of power and promote social justice. This verse presents a scenario where hypocrites are admonished against creating disharmony in the land. However, despite this admonition, when confronted with their wrongdoing, hypocrites deflect criticism by claiming to be reformers. Despite their outward claims of righteousness and claims of upholding justice and fairness, their actions betray their true intentions. This verse highlights the discrepancy between their words and deeds, emphasizing their deceptive practices. The phrase, "and when it is said to them, 'Do not create disharmony in the land,' implies that hypocrites are admonished of their moral responsibilities and the consequences of their actions. They are urged to refrain from engaging in corrupt and harmful behavior that disrupts the social order and undermines the well-being of society. However, their response reveals their hypocrisy and deceit. When confronted with their wrongdoing, hypocrites deflect criticism by claiming to be reformers and maintainers of peace, portraying themselves as agents of positive change rather than perpetrators of corruption, disorder, and disruption. The phrase, "We are only improvers," underscores the delusions of hypocrites regarding their own righteousness. This statement reflects their self-righteous attitude and delusions of righteousness. Despite their involvement in corrupt and harmful activities, they justify their actions under the guise of reform and improvement. This self-righteous attitude exposes the arrogance and deception of hypocrites, who seek to conceal their true nature and motives from others. Despite their claims of righteousness, their actions betray their true intentions, leading to harm and injustice within society. Through this verse, the Quran warns against the dangers of hypocrisy and the deceptive tactics employed by hypocrites to justify their wrongdoing. It underscores the importance of sincerity and authenticity in one's faithfulness and actions. Their hypocritical claims of reform are debunked, and their hypocrisy is exposed, serving as a cautionary tale for the faithful. Verse 12 unequivocally states that hypocrites are the ones who spread facade in the land. The phrase, "unsurprisingly, it is in fact they who are the creators of disharmony," emphasizes the culpability of hypocrites for the disharmony prevalent within society. It attributes the root cause of disharmony to their deceitful behavior, arrogance, and disregard for divine principles. However, despite their active role in spreading disharmony, hypocrites remain oblivious to the consequences of their actions. The statement, "but they just do not realize," highlights their ignorance and delusion regarding the harm they inflict upon themselves and others. They fail to recognize the severity of their wrongdoing and the repercussions of their corrupt behavior. This verse serves as a warning against the dangers of hypocrisy and the deceptive practices employed by hypocrites to justify their wrongdoing. It exposes the discrepancy between their claims of righteousness and their actual behavior, highlighting the importance of sincerity and authenticity in one's faith and actions. Through this verse, the Quran emphasizes the need for self-awareness and moral accountability. Hypocrites are urged to reflect on their actions and recognize the harm they inflict upon themselves and society. By acknowledging their wrongdoing and bettering themselves, they can strive towards spiritual purification and moral rectitude. Verse 13 presents a scenario where hypocrites are encouraged to embrace faithfulness in line with the faithfulness of those who are sincere in their fidelity. However, hypocrites respond arrogantly, dismissing the observations of the faithful as foolish and unworthy of consideration. This response reveals their contemptuous attitude towards the true faithful people and their refusal to acknowledge the truth of divine guidance. The phrase, "act faithfully, just as the people too are acting faithfully," implies that hypocrites are urged to adopt the same faith and trust as those with true fidelity. They are encouraged to embrace the principles of faith and righteousness upheld by the righteous community. However, hypocrites reject this call to faithfulness, displaying their arrogance and defiance. In their response, hypocrites dismiss the raised concerns, stating, "Should we be faithful like the fools have been faithful?" reflects their contemptuous attitude towards faith and righteousness. Despite the sincerity and authenticity in the claims of the faithful, hypocrites regard them with disdain and scorn, all the while they in fact are the ones who exhibit foolishness by rejecting fidelity and divine guidance. The verse concludes by stating, "Undoubtedly, it is in fact they who are the fools, but they just do not know." This statement emphasizes the ignorance and delusion of hypocrites regarding their own spiritual state. They fail to recognize the folly of their rejection of faith and righteousness. Verse 14 depicts a scenario where hypocrites, when in the company of the faithful, falsely claim to share the same level of faithfulness. They hypocritically assert, "We are true to our fidelity," implying that they are part of the community of the faithful. This behavior of hypocrisy underscores their deceptive nature and their desire to conceal their true beliefs and intentions. By pretending to be faithful in the presence of those with fidelity, hypocrites seek to gain acceptance, trust, and social standing within the community. They exploit the trust of the faithful for their own selfish motives, without genuinely embracing the faith or adhering to its principles. This verse highlights the discrepancy between the outward profession of faith by hypocrites and their true intentions. Furthermore, it serves as a reminder for the faithful to be vigilant and discerning in their interactions with others. It cautions against blindly accepting the words and actions of individuals without considering their sincerity and authenticity. The faithful are urged to cultivate a discerning eye and to uphold the values of honesty, integrity, and sincerity in their interactions with others. This deceptive nature undermines the integrity and cohesion of the community of the faithful, leading to mistrust and division among its members. The phrase, "but as soon as they fall back with their devil-like contemporaries," implying those who have similar thinking and a pattern of behavior that corresponds to perfidiousness. Their true intentions are further highlighted in their response while in the presence of their fellows, intimating to them that their true alliance lies with them and that they were only deriding the faithful. Verse 15 serves as a warning against the consequences of hypocrisy and perfidiousness. It highlights the justice and wisdom of Allah in dealing with those with dubious intentions. The phrase, "Allah makes a mockery of them," signifies the divine consequences for those who persist in their hypocrisy by making them the laughingstock and turning their intentions unto themselves. It indicates that Allah exposes the true nature of the hypocrites and allows them to continue in their misguided ways, ultimately leading to their spiritual downfall. When Allah makes a mockery of them, it implies that He humiliates and exposes their true nature, rendering their efforts futile and their arrogance meaningless. Despite their claims of superiority and righteousness, they are ultimately humbled and brought low by divine decree. Furthermore, when Allah leaves them in their transgression, wandering blindly, it signifies that He allows hypocrites to continue in their sinful ways without guidance or intervention. They are left to their own devices, wandering aimlessly in their transgression and spiritual blindness without recognizing the error of their ways or seeking repentance. It is such people, according to verse 16, who trade guidance for misguidance, implying that they knowingly reject or ignore the guidance provided by Allah and instead choose paths that lead to spiritual darkness and deviation. Rather than embracing the truth and following the path of righteousness, they opt for falsehood and deviation, thus trading guidance for misguidance. The phrase, "but their transaction has not profited them," underscores the futility and emptiness of their actions. Despite their attempts to exchange guidance for misguidance, hypocrites gain nothing of value from their choices. Instead of attaining spiritual fulfillment and contentment, they find themselves in a state of spiritual loss and deprivation. Furthermore, the verse concludes by emphasizing that they never were in fact the guided ones. Their rejection of divine guidance and their choice to trade guidance for misguidance result in their spiritual blindness and deviation from the path of righteousness, unable to find true guidance and fulfillment because of their own choices and actions. This verse highlights the consequences of rejecting divine guidance and choosing paths that lead away from truth and righteousness. In summary, these verses cover the theme of hypocrisy and the consequences of adhering to values that foster hypocrisy and perfidiousness. They serve as reminders for the faithful to guard against the pitfalls of hypocrisy and perfidiousness, to strive for sincerity and authenticity in their faith, and to seek forgiveness and guidance from Allah. Thank you very much for watching, and may the grace of God continue to be forever in your favor.